15 years ago, we started down this path. I had no idea where it would lead, and I still don't. But we've spent the past 15 years learning and evolving. This is autism. Fascinating, frustrating, yet faithful that good lies ahead. This show continues to focus on the people, the families, and the support systems connected to the autism spectrum. Tonight, we are taking your calls to answer your questions about autism. We have experts staffing our Call 4 lines right now. Give us a call, 844-44-CALL-4. Welcome to the Autism Puzzle. Autism spectrum disorder is a developmental disability which can cause social, communication, and behavioral challenges. Scientists believe there are multiple causes of ASD that act together to change the most common ways people develop. Some children can show ASD symptoms within the first year of life. Those symptoms could include communication problems, lack of social interaction, and restricted and repetitive behaviors. In a newly released study from the Centers for Disease Control, 1 in every 36 children in the U.S. has been identified with ASD. That study was among 8-year-old children. Roughly 2.7% of the nation's children now have autism. ASD is 4 times more common among boys than girls. Now, another finding from that CDC study is how autism is trending among minorities in the U.S. NBC4's Sierra Johnson has the latest on those significant changes.
Most of us have gotten familiar with the Centers for Disease Control in the context of the pandemic and all that they have done to help us monitor rates of COVID.
And Dr. Eric Bueter, Chief of Psychology at Nationwide Children, says the agency has also worked to track the rate of autism diagnoses among children. Autism refers to a broad range of conditions characterized by challenges with social skills, repetitive behaviors, and speech and nonverbal communication. According to the latest data, which examines those cases in 2020, 1 out of every 36 children in the U.S. was diagnosed with autism. That's up from 1 in 44 children in 2018 and 1 in 150 children in the year 2000.
As we increase awareness, we increase sensitivity to identifying autism rates in our broader population.
He says that increase in awareness combined with the advancement in the tools used to diagnose autism contribute to what some could say appear to be a drastic increase.
We have greater awareness, we have greater access to diagnostic tools and services. We have better diagnostic tools than we used to, and they're improving every month, every year.
And for the first time, according to that CDC report, Asian, Black, and Hispanic communities are seeing a higher percentage of 8-year-olds with autism than the white community.
There's no reason to believe that autism discriminates by race.
Data this chief psychologist says was created by the advancement in autism testing, combined with steps made in providing more intentional, inclusive, and equitable health care.
We're identifying more kids, we're identifying them younger. And as the CDC report demonstrates, we are now finally beginning to identify them in a more equitable manner.
When a child receives an autism diagnosis, it can be overwhelming for parents, figuring out what's next. Well, the longest standing therapy for ASD is called ABA therapy. That's applied behavior analysis. It monitors a child's behavioral changes to identify whether their social development and communication skills are progressing. Nearly all U.S. states require at least some insurance coverage for ABA therapy. Now, in the state of Ohio, when children with a diagnosis turn 3 years old, they become eligible for the Autism Scholarship. That covers about $32,000 and can help pay for autism therapies at a specialized school outside their home school district. But for any therapy program to work, you need qualified therapists to operate it. And right now, across the nation, the search for special education professionals is a desperate one.
Are we all done?
Okay.
You do get to play a lot and be silly a lot.
Hickory dickory dock.
And we only have 1 picture left, so we know it's last. And it's a really nice break from everything else that's out there.
Taylor Kiefer is a few years into her career as a registered behavior technician at Depp Elementary in Dublin.
Awesome. Okay, this is our book.
This is natural for Taylor. Her father was a special education teacher too. But turning passion into profession takes sacrifices, many you cannot see.
It can be really, really physical, and I go home and cry. We all go home and cry if you work in the field. And then you just have to do your best to kind of like wipe the slate clean for the next day.
Troy Ursum is the principal at Depp Elementary. His own 10-year-old daughter is a special education student there.
It takes a special person to know, to dig into what the specific student's needs are, but they have to look in the mirror and take care of themselves.
The emotional highs and lows are making teacher retention a struggle. According to data provided by the U.S. Department of Education's Institute of Education Sciences, 78% of public school districts in the U.S. report that it is difficult or very difficult to find certified special education teachers.
The number of people in Ohio who are in the demographics that we would normally expect to provide those services are declining. And so the math equation just does not work.
Sometimes it's about money. Adjusting for inflation, overall teaching salaries have been stagnant for more than 30 years. According to the Economic Policy Institute, teachers earn nearly 24% less than comparable college graduates, and especially in rural communities, finding teachers is a common struggle.
We are really working with many of our rural school districts and higher ed programs, our educator prep programs, to foster some grow your own initiatives.
The Department of Developmental Disabilities and the Department of Education are working on an online program called Learning Aid Ohio to create online support systems for people in their own homes. But in many cases, it's teachers like Taylor who create the biggest growth for children.
You can have the best team and it's still very difficult. It truly does take a village when you're working in special education.
We want to remind you, coming up on our program, a look at how police are getting involved in making sure that people on the autism spectrum are supported. Our call 4 lines are open this evening so that you can ask any question you would like to this evening about the topic of autism spectrum disorder. Our phone lines are open at 844-44-CALL-4. We'll be right back. The science of autism continues to fascinate researchers. In a new study by Rutgers University, researchers there collected data from the New York and New Jersey area over a 16-year period. Their data revealed a 3-fold increase in the number of children receiving a diagnosis and the number of 8-year-olds diagnosed with autism who did not have an intellectual disability rose dramatically, a 5-fold increase. That means children with an average or above average IQ, but struggling with social skills and other autism traits. Researchers say that is likely due to improved identification of ASD among pediatricians. Now, police say they face an incredibly difficult job to quickly diagnose potentially dangerous situations, and sometimes they get it wrong. Here in Central Ohio, we have seen examples of people on the autism spectrum enduring devastating encounters with police. Our Matthew Herchick shows us how some officers are trying to change that.
It's something we really didn't have here at the Columbus Division of Police, and really policing in general doesn't have this type of training. It affects their whole life.
A type of training that Officer Dave Freitag learned firsthand.
I myself have a 15-year-old nonverbal autistic son.
It's something that Freitag always thought the division needed, and after talking to teachers and parents at his son's school, knew he needed to develop.
I started in my own head was the first place. I thought back to when I was a new parent, what I wanted to know, what I didn't know.
Freitag's son Tyler was first diagnosed with autism at the age of 2.
When the kids on the spectrum are little, it's an acceptance. You know, as they get older, it's seen more as aggression from police.
The division sent Freitag to outside training classes, and combined with his own research, he and his partner created the program.
A large part of my class is signs and characteristics.
One of those signs is stemming, like Tyler, who uses this egg-shaped toy when he's feeling anxious.
It's things that the folks on the spectrum will do just to calm themselves, but it's also things that officers who are responding who may not know that.
Another key focus of his program is communication.
I tell them, talk to whoever's there. Talk to the parent, talk to the caretaker, if they're available. Try to reach out to someone who's familiar with the person or the situation.
Freitag has taught more than 30 classes, educating every officer on the force and every incoming class of recruits.
And we had officers who were coming across people on the spectrum and they said, man, your class helped me so much because look at this video. Did I do this right?
For Freitag, his program isn't only delivering a message of humanity, but one of safety for the community and all parties involved in these type of calls. His biggest message to his fellow officers, to not react too quickly and to slow time down.
Even though the folks on the spectrum may not be able to communicate with you or communicate differently than you and I, they still often can understand and they feel and they know what you're saying.
When we return, we highlight groups helping transition to life post-high school and creating pathways toward employment. Also a reminder, 844-44-CALL-4 is your phone number. You can call right now to speak to one of our experts about autism spectrum disorder. Questions from diagnosis, therapies, IEPs, long-term support. We're here until 8 o'clock tonight. We're right back after this. For more than a decade now, Westerville City Schools and Otterbein University have worked together to help more than 100 students with a disability transition into life after high school. They call it the best of both worlds. Here's NBC4's Sierra Johnson.
I wish to have a real job someday. And I also wish to live on my own with someone and some kids.
19-year-old Matthew McKenzie desires to do what any young adult does: work a good job, find a partner, and support a family.
They teach me how to live on my own and how to maintain a job.
And a partnership between Westerville Schools and Otterbein University called Best of Both Worlds will help Matthew, his program mate Freedom, and other young adults living with autism work toward achieving that goal. We caught up with Matthew and Freedom at job number 1 of 2 at the district offices above the district's early learning program.
Do that.
It's here the pair learn skills that will help them in an office setting.
I enjoy about the program was having the work experience at the job sites I go to.
The Best of Both Worlds program takes students ages 18 to 22 and gives them real-world work experience like in office or retail and teaches them how to navigate the workplace.
Sometimes when I'm at work, I will be tasked to do something that I'm not a big fan of.
And how to overcome challenges. The Otterbein students work one-on-one with the Best of Both Worlds students, providing support as well as social and recreational activities. Dr. Shelley Payne is a health and sports science professor at Otterbein, and it's her students that take part in the partnership.
You know, I think it's just been really affirming for students that oftentimes are like, this is my calling.
According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the unemployment rate for adults with a disability is nearly double that of the unemployment rate for adults without a disability. And more than 2/3 of young adults with autism are unemployed. It is a problem, but it's becoming an opportunity for companies big and small.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, how are you?
Want to see you tomorrow?
At this Kroger store on Bethel Road,
thanks very much.
Thank you.
You'll find all the trappings of a typical grocery store.
You want it in a paper bag?
But this is the only store on earth where Eleanor Lupton works.
When a customer chooses to shop where they're shopping, they're coming to shop at Eleanor's store.
Hi, how are you?
Very well, how are you?
And she insists on customer satisfaction.
That's why you're my favorite bag.
Thank you.
Her smile, her energy, it is hard not to feel better when you're in her presence.
When Eleanor finished high school, she found the job market unfriendly.
Because it's harder for people with disabilities.
She soon found Kroger. She has a job coach, a supportive management team, and 25 years later, she's thriving.
Because she has social interaction with people. She has a purpose to get up in the morning, you know. I'm getting up, I'm going to work.
Kroger employs people with developmental disabilities in many of their stores, but for some adults, job skills training requires some digging.
I got it. I got it.
We open on the 24th of April, and so everything has to be ready to go out the door.
Inside this greenhouse in New Albany, careers are grown.
How hard was it to find a job?
It was a lot harder than I can ever imagine.
Evan Brody joined the team at Lettucework before it even existed.
Evan's been here since day one. He helped us actually build the building.
I decided that my place was actually right here.
Why is this your place?
Well, I can be more active around here.
Lettucework is now a decade into its mission to help young adults train in the soft skills needed to work.
They've had a lot of training on skills that they wouldn't get anywhere else, and they're very employable. They want to work and they want to succeed. We have 65% of our kids moving on to jobs, which is almost double the national average.
And for people like Evan and Eleanor, employment creates community.
I see myself working over 30 more years here. I love my job and I love what I do. And I love coming to work every day. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too.
Huntington Bank is another company with a track record of hiring people with ASD through a program called Autism to Work. And now they're devoting digital resources to help people with autism navigate the process of banking. It's an app called Magnus Cards, and inside that app you'll find a money management tab. That's where Huntington Bank's tutorials live, featuring photos and audio instructions explaining the processes for buying items using a debit card, making deposits, and other skills for independent living.
For us, it was an opportunity to really do something that was impactful for millions of people who are challenged every day with everyday activities. And in this instance, I've pulled up going inside a bank to deposit a check. And you simply click on that. And what that does is brings up a series of cards in the card deck. And these card decks have illustrations, graphics, audio, and are step-by-step walking you through how to do that activity.
The Magnus Card Decks app is a free download and free to use. And it's something you learn pretty early on when you have a child diagnosed with autism. Every person presents their characteristics in their own unique way. And often it's not something you can see. That created a unique challenge for a basketball star from Pickerington. Our Whitney Harding shares her story.
Here we go.
I'm a really good basketball player, to be honest with you.
Underestimate 17-year-old Maddie Keaton at your peril. She is a basketball player, something she's known since she was 5 years old.
I like the contact, like the defending people and just stopping them from enjoying a basket. Like, I like having the joy of them not being able to score on me.
And since she was 8 years old, Maddie has known she has autism.
It just felt like something was different. Yeah, nothing's wrong, just different.
It's awful to say this, but I feel like people think that we're weird or something, like we can't communicate, we don't know how to express our feelings, which sometimes that's the case, but if you help us, we can work through it together.
Again, underestimate Maddie Keaton at your peril. She treats her diagnosis much like she plays basketball, with power, and that power comes from being open and saying, yes, I have autism.
The problem is that people can't see that I'm autistic, so people will really come up to me and be like, oh, I didn't know you were autistic. You don't look like you're autistic. What does that even mean?
If you don't start vocalizing it and tell people, people aren't going to be so understanding and accepting if they don't know what they don't know. And that's what we've been telling her for years. Learn how to use your voice.
That could be hard for someone whose autism presents in the social realm. Maddie's biggest challenge is understanding tone and social cues.
I have to take a step back when someone talks to me and think about if they're being nice or if they're being sarcastic, things like that.
Here is where basketball has given an assist.
With basketball, she learned that smiling and laughing and cheering was a good thing, and it wasn't a bad thing.
Tone with teammates. If I'm having trouble translating the tone, they're like, no, she didn't mean that. You know, she's just hyped in the moment. Like, they're almost like my translators.
I'm very, very proud of her. Just her ability to understand people, understand what she needs to do, and just go out and do it.
Remember what I said about underestimating Maddie Keaton?
Don't let autism stop you. Just keep going. Someone will accept you, so do what you want to do. Yes, I can play basketball. I'm not a charity case, 100% a baller.
Well, coming up, an open mic night like you've never seen before, where autism and artists collide and create. That's coming up. If you have questions related to autism spectrum disorder, you have just a few more minutes to connect with the experts standing by on our Call 4 lines. Give us a call. 844-44-CALL-4 is the number. Autism Puzzle continues right after this. Finally tonight, art connects humans. Music, poetry, painting. It's a way to tell your own story. Tonight you're about to hear from a group of artists with autism, in their own words, in a unique forum, an open mic night.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the March edition of Band Together Central Ohio.
This poem is called a Special Needs Poem.
They say that I have special needs. And while that's partly true, the needs that matters most to me are the same ones you have too.
Running from the cold up in New England, I was born to be a fiddler in an old-time string band. My baby plays a good
I need to be accepted. I need friends that make me smile.
Years go up, friendship will never die. Any way you want it, that's the way you need it. Any way you want it. She said, any way you want it, that's the way you need it. Any way you want it.
I need a chance to learn and grow, feeling valued all the while.
What you'll see will defy explanation.
Long black dreams come around, and I feel like knocking on heaven's door.
Sure, I need some extra help.
Guacamole, guacamole, I'll be making guacamole all day long.
Come to my window, I'll be home soon.
And some things I can't do.
1, 2, 3, 4.
But hope you'll see beyond all that.
In times of trouble, we never could have come this far.
Inside, I'm just like you.
I love you just